securities in that realm. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Senator Luján, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chair Fisher. Ms. Jordan, you were at the FCC as Chief of the Public Safety and Homeland Security Bureau when the FCC adopted the declaratory ruling that affirmatively required telecommunication carriers to secure their networks from unlawful access and interception of communication. The FCC also proposed rules to require covered communication services providers to submit an annual certification attesting that they created, updated, and implemented cybersecurity, supply chain risk management plans, things of that nature. Can you explain briefly why the FCC moved forward with the declaratory ruling and advanced additional proposals earlier this year?
As I mentioned earlier, part of what Salt Typhoon did was gain access into our law enforcement requests and records, giving China access to our administrative proceedings against adversaries. And so, as I mentioned, Section 105 of CALIA, which is System Security and Integrity, requires that they secure the systems from unauthorized access. So it was basically re-emphasizing that. With regard to the cyber risk management framework, the CSF known, that was developed by NIST, I think it's being referred to as a checklist, and I kind of take exception to that. It is a risk management plan. Yes, there are a number of steps that you go through. Do you have governance? Are you changing and not using default passwords? Are you assessing your risk against a number of things like installing patches in a timely manner? You know, the FCC just recently released another warning to the EAS, the alerting systems, that they need to patch their systems because, again, they've been hacked. And so that proposal that was pulled back to implement the cybersecurity framework is already in place, voted unanimously in the past several years for portions of the communication sector. In fact, in August, it was proposed for subsea cable licensees to be required to do similar cyber risk management planning. So again, it's not a checklist. It's do your cybersecurity in a methodical, planned way and keep track of what you're doing so that you know internally, your leadership knows, and you can share it when asked, whether Congress or the FCC were to ask.
Now, Ms. Jordan, with that being said, a couple of weeks ago, the proposals were off the table after the Trump FCC voted along party lines to rescind these rulings. Has the FCC proposed any rules in the place of what it just rescinded to ensure that our networks are safe and secure against cyber threats?
I've not seen anything. I have seen and heard both in Robert's testimony as well as in the statements released by the FCC and the policies that industry has committed or said that they will take extensive steps. But as I mentioned during my comments, there's no assurances. We don't know what those extensive steps are. Communications networks are large, complex, and they require like significant measures to be taken to secure them. And so without some sort of accountability regime, we don't really know what they're doing, how effective it is, how widespread those measures will be. So the answer is no. There is nothing that I'm aware of that they've put in place.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Jaffer, is that correct, sir? Apologize for that. You both stressed the importance of American leadership in emerging technologies such as AI and quantum in your opening statements. In this committee, this year alone, we've had multiple hearings on AI, and we often hear that we're in a race against the Chinese government. The question for both of you, yes or no, and if you want to editorialize, I'd invite you to submit that into writing. Yes or no, please. Is it possible to win a race against the Chinese government if America is constantly leaking our IP to them through hacks in our telecom networks? Mr. Mayor?
Is it possible to beat the Chinese in the AI race if there's leaks in our infrastructure?
That's the question.
Yeah, so the answer is that
yes or no, sir. You can editorialize. You can all that you want.
I think
volumes and volumes.
I don't think it lends itself to a yes or no
Appreciate that,
answer.
Mr. Jaffer. Appreciate that. I think that's the correct answer is no. If the Chinese government's able to get their hands on everything we're doing in the United States with IP, then what are we doing? We should just have open protocol everywhere and let them do whatever the hell they want. How can we ensure an equally strong cybersecurity standards across our network without proper federal regulation. Is it possible, yes or no, Mr. Mayor?
Can do it without federal regulation. The regulation is a prescriptive, bureaucratic, static approach to a problem. It doesn't solve the environment we're in today.
So you're suggesting it can be done voluntarily?
I'm suggesting that there's a shared responsibility across all aspects of the digital ecosystem.
So if I heard you correctly earlier, you said that there should be tightening on the vendors, so there should be regulation on vendors?
There should be expectations put on vendors to.
Should there be expectations put on telecommunication companies?
There are expectations put on telecommunications
Appreciate that.
companies.
Mr. Jaffer?
I think we can do it without federal regulation, but I think the better way to do it is with a partnership between the public and private sector. If we incentivize the kind of behavior we want from our industry, we're more likely to get it. Let me give you just one example why. The more regulations we put on our providers, the more you're saying put the lawyers in the room and have the lawyers decide what happens. And you know what lawyers do? I'm a lawyer, recovering lawyer. We tell our clients to do the minimum necessary at the latest time possible, do only what you're required to do. If, on the other hand, you incentivize people to do the right thing, you give them tax benefits, access to government programs and the like, they're more likely to line up your boards, your CEOs, everybody's gonna be in the same room because they're gonna say, look, we get a benefit by doing these things. Give me liability protection, give me regulatory protection. I'm gonna tell my CISO, go share all the information you can. Now everyone's lined up in the same direction. To me, that's a more effective way to get to the goal you want, which is exactly right. We cannot win the AI race if we're leaking stuff out to China. The question is, how do we get there? Do we regulate it in place or do we incentivize it?
Thank you, Mr. Jaffer. My time's expired. If we have another round of questioning, I'd like to come back. Thank you. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Senator Luján. Senator Blackburn, you are recognized.